Many of you come here seeking techniques, methods, and formulas to manifest your desires. You believe that through effort and struggle, you can bring your dreams into being. But I tell you this, what you seek is already yours. The state you wish to occupy already exists, completed and perfect, waiting only for your conscious acceptance of it. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. This promise from Scripture reveals the great secret. The answer precedes the call. Your desire, be it for wealth, love, health, or success, already exists as a living reality in the fourth dimensional world. Your work is not to make it real, but to appropriate it through the wonderful human imagination. Let me explain what I mean. We live in a world of 3 dimensions, length, width, and height, and we move through the 4th dimension of time. But time, as you experience it sequentially, is merely a concept created by your consciousness. In truth, all moments past, present, and future exist simultaneously in an eternal now. The future state you desire is not something to be created. It already is. When you say, I want to be wealthy, or I want to be healthy, or I want to be loved, you are acknowledging that these states exist separate from you. You place them in an imaginary future, believing you must journey through time to reach them. But I tell you, these states are present now, and you can step into them immediately through the power of your imagination. Consider this, every state of consciousness exists as a living reality. These states are like rooms in a vast mansion of being. You currently occupy one room, your present state of consciousness. But all other rooms, all other states exist simultaneously. Your journey is not one of creation, but of selection and occupation. The Bible tells us, in my Father's house are many mansions. These mansions are not physical dwellings in some distant heaven, but states of consciousness available to you now. Your Father's house is your own wonderful human imagination, and within it are infinite states you may occupy. Tonight, I challenge you to stop striving to make your desires real through effort and anxious labor. Instead, I invite you to relax and receive what is already yours. How do you do this? Through the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you were now the person you wish to be, how would you feel? If you possess now what you desire to possess, what would be your reaction? By capturing and maintaining this feeling, you make your desired future your present reality. Many years ago, a man came to me in desperate circumstances. He was financially ruined, estranged from his family, living in a small room with barely enough to eat. He had tried everything, worked hard, sought help from others, even prayed in the conventional sense, but nothing had changed. I asked him, if things were different, what would be the first thing you would do? After a moment's reflection, he said, I would call my daughter. Before everything fell apart, we spoke every Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. That's what I miss most. I told him tonight, at 6 o'clock, sit quietly in your room, close your eyes, and imagine your telephone ringing. Hear it clearly. Now imagine picking up the receiver and hearing your daughter's voice. Hear her telling you she's been thinking about you and wanted to resume your Sunday calls. Feel the joy of reconnection. Feel the naturalness of the conversation, as though your separation had never occurred. Do this with complete faith that what you are experiencing in the imagination is a present reality. The man followed my instructions, and 3 days later, at 6 in the evening, his telephone rang. It was his daughter speaking almost the exact words he had heard in his imagination. Within a month, their relationship was fully restored, and through a series of events that seemed miraculous, but were in fact lawful, his financial situation reversed completely. What happened? Did this man create a new reality? No, he simply stepped into a state, a mansion that already existed. He relaxed his conscious resistance and received what was already his. Many of you struggle because you are trying to make something happen. You push your plans to the limit. You push your plan, you worry, and you work all to bring about what already exists. Your anxiety and effort actually prevent you from receiving your desire, for they affirm its absence rather than its presence. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. These words invite you to cease your struggle and enter the Sabbath of consciousness where all is complete. The Sabbath is not a day of the week, but a state of consciousness where you rest from your lacrosse. The creative process is finished. All states exist. Your task is to select the state that corresponds to your desire and enter it consciously through imagination. Having entered, you rest in the conviction that what you are experiencing imaginatively is now a fact in your world. This brings us to an important point. The feeling of your wish fulfilled must become your dominant feeling. It is not enough to imagine once and then return to your former state of consciousness. You must persist in the new state until it becomes your natural dwelling place. Consider a room filled with the fragrance of roses. When you enter, you are immediately aware of the scent, but remain there long enough and you no longer notice it, not because it has diminished, but because you have become one with it. So it is with a new state of consciousness. At first, it feels strange, even unnatural, but persistent soon it becomes your new normal, and the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner assumption. Now many ask me, how long must I persist before my desire becomes manifest in the three-dimensional world? This question itself reveals a misunderstanding, for it places the fulfillment in time rather than in consciousness. The outer manifestation is not the fulfillment. The inner assumption is the fulfillment. When you truly assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are already in possession of what you desire. Its appearance in time is merely the shadow following the substance. Nevertheless, I understand the practical nature of your question. The time it takes for the outer manifestation to appear depends on two factors: the naturalness of the state to you and the implications involved in the state. By naturalness, I mean how readily you can feel the state to be your present reality without contradiction or doubt. Some states feel closer to your current consciousness than others. A modest increase in income might feel more natural than sudden wealth. Perfect health might feel more accessible than growing a new limb. The more natural the state feels, the more readily it manifests. By implications, I mean the countless adjustments in your world that must occur for your assumption to become a fact. For one person to receive a specific job, certain people must make specific decisions. Paperwork must be processed. Perhaps someone else must vacate the position. These are the bridging incidents that must occur, and they unfold in their own time and sequence. But here is the wonderful truth. You need not concern yourself with these implications or how they will unfold. Your task is simply to maintain the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. The infinite intelligence within you, your own wonderful I am, knows exactly how to bring about the conditions necessary for the outer realization of your assumption. I am the way. This statement from Scripture reveals that your consciousness of being your I am is the path to fulfillment. When you say I am, you are declaring your essential being. Whatever follows those two words becomes your reality. Most people complete this statement unconsciously saying in effect, I am poor, I am unlucky, I am unwanted, and so they remain. But you can consciously choose what follows I am. When you declare I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, you are selecting a state of consciousness. Persist in these declarations not as affirmations spoken with the lips, but as assumptions felt with the whole being, and you will transform your world. Let me share another experience. A woman attended my lectures who desired marriage. She had dated occasionally, but had never found a relationship that promised permanence. After hearing me speak on the law of assumption, she began to imagine herself as a happily married woman. Each night before sleep, she would remove from her imagination her single bed in her small apartment and replace it with a larger bed which she shared with her husband. She would fall asleep, feeling his presence beside her, feeling the weight of a wedding ring on her finger, hearing his breathing in the darkness. During the day, she would pause occasionally and look at her left hand, seeing in imagination the gold band that signified her marriage. She would answer the telephone in her imagination with her married name. In her conversations with friends, she would hear herself being addressed as a married woman, and she would feel the naturalness of this state. Within 3 months, she met a man who felt strangely familiar to her, as though she had known him all her life. Their courtship was brief but certain, and within a year of beginning her experiment in consciousness, she was married. The fascinating aspect of this story is that her husband physically resembled the man she had imagined, though she had never consciously constructed his appearance, and their bedroom contained a bed remarkably similar to the one she had imagined. What happened? Did she create her husband through some magical power? No, she entered a state, the state of being happily married, merely existed as a living reality. Her consistent assumption drew to her the circumstances, events, and people necessary for its outer expression. Now, some of you might be thinking this all sounds wonderful, but what about my negative thoughts and doubts? How do I overcome these? This is an important question. Your mind may indeed rebel against your new assumption. It may present evidence from your past or present circumstances that seems to contradict your desired state. This is natural and to be expected. The conscious mind is bound by the evidence of the senses and will initially resist what appears to be a denial of facts. Do not fight these thoughts or try to suppress them. Instead, gently bring your attention back to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Each time doubt arises, acknowledge it without emotion. Then return to the assumption that your desire is already a reality. It is not the absence of doubts that leads to success, but the ability to persist despite them. Remember, the subconscious mind, which is the creative power, accepts what you consciously assume to be true. It does not argue a question. It simply acts on your dominant impression. By consistently returning to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you impress this feeling upon the subconscious until it becomes the dominant feeling. This brings us to a profound truth. Relaxation is essential to the successful use of imagination. When you are tense, anxious, or striving, you close the door to your subconscious. Your assumption must be offered in a state of relaxation for it to be accepted and expressed. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Your assumption, the feeling of your wish fulfilled, is the mustard seed. It contains within it everything necessary for its full expression. But this seed must be planted in the fertile soil of a relaxed consciousness. How do you achieve this relaxation? Begin by physically relaxing your body. Find a comfortable position where you can remain without movement. Close your eyes and breathe deeply and naturally. Feel each part of your body releasing tension. Now mentally let go of all concerns, all problems, all unfinished business. For this period of imagination, set aside the claims of the outer world. In this state of physical and mental relaxation, you are receptive to new impressions. Now, gently assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do not strain to make it real. Simply accept it as real. Feel the naturalness, the of course-ness of having what you desire. Many fail in their use of imagination because they try too hard. They strain to visualize clearly or to feel intensely, creating tension that blocks the natural creative process. Imagination works best in a state of relaxed attention alert, but not tense, focused, but not strained. Consider how you remember a pleasant experience from your past. You don't strain to recall it. You simply turn your attention to it, and it unfolds naturally in your consciousness. So it should be with imagining your desire fulfilled. Turn your relaxed attention to it, and let it reveal itself to you. This brings us to another vital aspect of successful imagining, the use of sleep. As you fall asleep, your conscious mind becomes less active and your subconscious becomes more receptive. This is why Scripture advises, commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. The moments before sleep are ideal for impressing your desire upon the subconscious. As you drift into slumber, maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Let it be the final impression of the day. Your subconscious will work on this impression throughout the night, integrating it into your consciousness and orchestrating the outer events necessary for its manifestation. Now you might ask, what if I fall asleep before I can fully establish the feeling? Do not worry. The mere intention to fall asleep while holding the feeling is sufficient to initiate the process. With practice, you will find yourself naturally maintaining the feeling as you transition into sleep. Another question commonly asked is, how specific should my imaginary act be? The answer depends on what feels most natural to you. Some find it effective to construct detailed scenes that imply the fulfillment of their desire. Others prefer to focus on the pure feeling of the wish fulfilled without specific details. For example, if your desire is for financial abundance, you might imagine a specific scene, such as looking at a bank statement showing a large balance or receiving congratulations from a friend on your prosperity. Alternatively, you might simply capture the feeling of financial security and freedom, the sense of confidence and peace that comes with abundance. Both approaches are valid. The key is to choose the method that most easily induces the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remember, it is the feeling that is impressed upon the subconscious, not the details of the scene. This brings us to a crucial distinction, the difference between wishing and assuming. When you wish for something, you place it outside yourself as an object to be obtained in the future. You affirm its absence in your present experience. But when you assume something, you appropriate it as a present fact. You claim it as your own here and now. The Bible states, whatever you desire when you pray, believe that you have received it and you will. Note the tense, not you will receive it, but you have received it. This is the secret of effective prayer, to claim in the present what seems to exist only in the future. This concept may seem abstract, but it is actually quite practical. Your present circumstances were created by your past assumptions. They appear solid and unchangeable only because they are the outpicturing of what you previously accepted as real. By changing your assumptions now, you initiate a new sequence of events that will replace the current circumstances with new ones reflecting your new assumption. Let me illustrate this with another experience. A man who attended my lectures was employed in a position far below his capabilities. He had been with the same company for 12 years with minimal advancement. His income was insufficient for his needs, and he felt trapped and unappreciated. After hearing my talks on the law of assumption, he decided to revise his concept of himself and his relationship to his work. Each day, he would find a quiet place during his lunch break, close his eyes, and then end in his superior congratulating him on his outstanding contribution to the company. He would hear the words clearly, feel the handshake, and experience the pride of recognition. Furthermore, each night before sleep, he would construct a scene implying an increase in income. He chose to imagine looking at his bank deposit slip and seeing a figure twice his current salary. He would feel the paper in his hands, see the amount clearly, and experience the satisfaction of financial increase. For several weeks, nothing changed externally, but he persisted in his assumption. Then events began to unfold in a remarkable way. A reorganization was announced in his company. His department was restructured, and he was assigned new responsibilities. Within 2 months, he was promoted to a management position with a salary slightly higher than the one he had imagined. Now, here's an interesting point. The specific scene he had imagined his superior congratulating him never occurred exactly as he had visualized it. Yet the essence of his desire, recognition, and financial increase was fully realized. This demonstrates an important principle. The outer conditions may not match your imaginal scene exactly, but they will faithfully reflect the essential feeling of your assumption. This is why I emphasize feeling rather than visualization. Some people struggle to create clear visual images, leading them to believe they cannot effectively use their imagination, but clear visualization is not necessary. What is essential is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Even without clear pictures, you can capture the feeling of having what you desire, and this feeling impressed upon the subconscious will express itself in your outer experience. Now let's address a concern that troubles many, the apparent delay between the inner assumption and the outer manifestation. You may have faithfully assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, yet your senses continue to report the old conditions. This seeming contradiction can shake your faith in the law. Remember, the time lag is not a failure of the law, but its normal operation. Just as a seed planted in the ground requires time to germinate and grow before it appears above the surface. So, your assumption requires time to develop through the medium of natural events. During this interval between your inner assumption and its outer manifestation, you may experience what I call science, following subtle indications that the law is at work. You might overhear a conversation relating to your desire, receive information that supports your new state, or experience a shift in your own attitudes and reactions. These signs should be acknowledged as confirmation that your assumption is bearing fruit. However, do not make the mistake of looking for science as proof that the law is working. Such seeking implies doubt and affirms the absence of your desire in the present. Instead, maintain your faithful assumption, knowing that the outer confirmation must come in its own time and way. One of the most powerful aspects of the law of assumption is that it frees you from dependency on others. The conventional belief is that you must influence or change others to achieve your goals. If you desire promotion, you must impress your superior. If you desire love, you must attract and convince a specific person to love you. If you desire increased sales, you must persuade more customers to buy. But the law of assumption reverses this process. Instead of trying to change others, you change yourself, your concept of self, and your assumptions about reality. From this changed consciousness, others respond differently to you. Your superior recognizes your value, not because you have manipulated him, but because you have assumed the state of consciousness to which recognition is a natural response. Customers are attracted to your product, not because you have convinced them, but because you have assumed the consciousness of success to which increased sales are the natural outcome. Draw nigh to God, and He will draw nigh to you. God in this context is your own wonderful I am, your consciousness of being. As you draw nigh to the feeling of being what you desire to be, that state draws nigh to you, expressing itself through the appropriate channels and individuals without your conscious orchestra of events. This understanding should bring you great peace. You need not worry about how your desire will be fulfilled or who will help fulfill it. Your task is simply to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to persist in that assumption. The infinite wisdom within you will arrange the means methods of expression. Now let me address a question that is often asked. What about the desires of others? If I assume a state that involves someone else, am I not manipulating them or interfering with their free will? This question arises from a misunderstanding of consciousness. There is only one consciousness individualized in all of us. When you assume a state involving another, you are not manipulating a separate being, but shifting your relationship with an aspect of the one consciousness. Let me clarify this with an example. If you desire a harmonious relationship with someone who currently appears hostile or indifferent, you would assume the feeling of friendship and cooperation with that person. You would imagine conversations characterized by mutual respect and understanding. You would feel the naturalness of a pleasant relationship. Are you thereby forcing the other person to change? No. You are changing your conception of the relationship, and the other person, being part of the one consciousness, will reflect this change. They may never know that you have done any inner work. They will simply find themselves responding to you differently as if by their own volition. This principle applies to all relationships, personal, professional, and casual. By assuming the state of consciousness to which your desired relationship is the normal response, you allow others to express the highest within them in relation to you. Far from manipulating them, you are giving them the freedom to rise above the limitations of past interactions. Now, a word about detachment. Many spiritual teachings emphasize the importance of detachment from desires, leading some to believe that having strong desires is somehow wrong or unspiritual. This is a misunderstanding of true detachment. Detachment does not mean lack of desire or suppression of desire. It means detachment from the means of fulfillment and from anxiety about results. You should have a clear desire, know exactly what you want, and feel the fulfillment of that desire intensely. But you should be detached from how it will come about and when it will appear in your three-dimensional reality. In other words, be focused on the what, but flexible about the how and when. This combination of definite desire and relaxed detachment creates the ideal condition for manifestation. Finally, let us consider the role of gratitude in the creative process. Gratitude is not merely a virtue or a pleasant emotion. It is a powerful creative force. When you express gratitude for what you have, you acknowledge the fulfillment of desire, placing yourself in the position of having received. More importantly, when you express gratitude for what you desire, as though you have already received it, you affirm its presence in your life. You close the gap between wanting and having. Gratitude for what is yet to appear in the outer world is the ultimate expression of faith in the law. The Bible states, praise God from whom all blessings flow. To praise is to acknowledge, to affirm, to express appreciation for. As you praise and give thanks for your desires already fulfilled, you accelerate its manifestation in your visible world. I encourage you to make gratitude a daily practice. Each morning upon waking and each night before sleeping, give thanks for the fulfillment of your desires. Speak of them as present facts. Acknowledge them as already received and feel the joy of possession. This practice alone, if faithfully maintained, will transform your life. Now, let me address a common concern. What if I have multiple desires? Should I focus on all of them or just one? While it is possible to fulfill multiple desires simultaneously, most people find it more effective to focus primarily on one significant desire at a time, especially when first applying these principles. This concentrated attention allows the feeling of fulfillment to become more vivid and convincing. Choose the desire that when fulfilled would bring you the greatest satisfaction or would naturally include or lead to other desires. For example, a desire for a fulfilling career might naturally include financial abundance, creative expression, and meaningful relationships. Once you have selected your primary desire, give it your attention during your dedicated periods of imagination. However, if other desires arise naturally throughout the day, acknowledge them briefly in the state of fulfillment. A momentary feeling of thank you that this too is fulfilled is sufficient. As you become more practiced in the art of assumption, You will find yourself naturally maintaining multiple assumptions simultaneously, just as a skilled clans can play different melodies with each hand. But in the beginning, simplicity and focus are your allies. Now, I must address the question of action. Some who hear these teachings mistakenly believe that physical action is unnecessary, that they need only imagine and then wait for their desire to appear. This is a misunderstanding of the law. Imagination initiates the creative process, but it does not eliminate action. It inspires and directs action. When you truly assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you naturally take actions consistent with your assumption. These actions are not forced or planned. They flow spontaneously from your changed consciousness. For example, if you assume wealth, you may find yourself more attentive to investment opportunities, more confident in requesting a raise, or more inspired to create a valuable product or service. These actions are not the cause of your wealth, but the expressions of your consciousness of wealth. The difference between action initiated by your assumption and action initiated by anxiety is vast. The first is inspired, effortless, and effective. The second is strained, difficult, and often fruitless. When action flows from the consciousness of already having what you desire, it has a kind of magic to it. Doors open, circumstances arrange themselves favorably, and seeming obstacles become stepping stones. So do not fear action or avoid it. Simply ensure that your action springs from your assumption, rather than from a desire to make your assumption true. The subtle distinction is this: you act because your desire is fulfilled, not in order to fulfill your desire. This brings us to a profound truth. The law of assumption transcends all other laws. Physical laws, economic laws, social laws all operate within the framework of your consciousness. Change your consciousness, and you change the operation of all lesser laws. If you assume poverty, the economic laws work to keep you poor regardless of how hard you work or how much knowledge you acquire. If you assume wealth, these same laws work to bring you prosperity, often through unexpected channels and with minimal effort on your part. This is what Scripture means by "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." The kingdom is your consciousness, and righteousness is the right use of consciousness through assumption. When you place consciousness first, when you faithfully assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, all other things arrange themselves accordingly. I urge you not to make the common mistake of relegating these principles to the realm of theory or philosophy. They are intensely practical, and when applied, produce definite results in your experience. Do not say, "These are beautiful ideas, and someday I will try them." Begin now with whatever desire is most present in your awareness. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, select a desire, something you truly want to be, to do, or to have. Construct a simple scene that would imply the fulfillment of this desire. Perhaps a friend congratulating you, or a glimpse of a document or object that would confirm your achievement. Make it simple, brief, and natural. Now, as you lie in bed, close your eyes and relax completely. Feel your body releasing all tension. Let your mind become quiet, gently setting aside the concerns of the day. In this relaxed state, bring your scene before your mind's eye. Enter it fully as though it were happening now. See what you would see, hear what you would hear, feel what you would feel. Let the reality of it impress itself upon you. If your mind wanders or doubts arise, gently bring your attention back to the scene. Do not force it, simply return to it as you would to a pleasant memory. Continue until the scene feels natural, until you have the sense of, "Yes, this is so." Then release the scene and drift to sleep, knowing that what you have experienced in imagination is now a fact in consciousness that must express itself in your outer world. The seed has been planted, your subconscious will now work faithfully to bring it to flower. In the days that follow, maintain the sense of your wish fulfilled. When doubts or contradictory evidence appears, do not fight or resist, simply return, in your feeling and imagination, to the consciousness of fulfillment. Let your assumption be more real to you than the evidence of your senses. Remember, what you are doing is not creating something new, but claiming what already exists in the dimension of fulfilled desires. You are not working to make something happen. You are appropriating what is already accomplished. This is why you can relax and receive, knowing that your future is now. The great secret is this: there is only the present moment. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination. Both are expressions of your present consciousness. As you change your consciousness now through the art of assumption, you change both your conception of the past and your experience of the future. Behold, I make all things new. This creative power is yours now, this very moment. Through your human imagination, which is God in operation, you can transcend time, select any state of consciousness, and bring it into your present experience. So I say to you, the future you desire is not remote or uncertain. It is now available to you through the simple act of assumption. Relax your anxious striving, your doubt, your concern for how and when. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and in a way that no one knows, in a time that no one can predict. Your assumption will harden into fact. I have shared these principles with thousands over many years, and I have seen life transform beyond recognition. Not through struggle, not through manipulation of others, not through complex strategies or systems, but through the faithful application of the law of assumption. What has worked for others will work for you, for the law is no respecter of persons. It responds with mathematical precision to the consciousness of all who apply it. In concluding our discussion tonight, I urge you to test these principles in your own experience. Do not take my word for it, prove it to yourself. Select a desire, assume its fulfillment, and watch as the seemingly solid world of appearance reshapes itself to match your assumption. And remember, the most challenging part of this practice is not the technique of health, but maintaining your assumption in the face of contrary evidence. The world will present you with facts that seem to deny your assumption. Your senses will report conditions that contradict your chosen state. This is the testing point, the place where faith is refined and strengthened. Stand firm in your assumption. Know that what you are experiencing in imagination is more real, more substantial, and more powerful than what your senses report. The outer world must conform to your inner conviction. It has no choice, for it is only the shadow of your consciousness. You stand at a threshold of infinite possibility. The door to any state of consciousness is open to you. Through your imagination, you can enter any room in your Father's house. Claim it as your own and make it your dwelling place. The future of your dreams is not a distant hope. It is a present reality awaiting your recognition and acceptance. Relax and receive what is already yours. The future is now. Imagination is not fantasy as the world would have you believe. Imagination is the very substance of reality, the creative power of the universe itself. It is God in action, for we are told that man is made in the image of God. The Hebrew word for image is tilm, which carries with it the connotation of shadow or reflection. You are not merely a creation of God, you are the creative power of God individualized. Now let me share a story with you. A few years ago, a man came to one of my lectures in New York. He was financially destitute, had lost his business, his home was in foreclosure, and his family was on the verge of breaking apart under the strain. He asked me after the lecture, how can I possibly shift my energy when everything around me contradicts what I desire? How can I believe in abundance when my reality shows only lack? I told him what I will tell you now. The outer world is merely the effect. Consciousness is the cause. If you wait for the outer world to change before you change your consciousness, you will wait forever, for the world can only reflect what you are projecting. So I told this man, dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, live from the end. Feel the energy of what it would be like to have your business thriving again, to have your home secure, to have harmony in your family. He practiced this diligently, entering into the state of consciousness where his desires were already fulfilled, feeling the naturalness of it, the reality of it in his imagination. And within 6 months, not only had he started a new business that was more successful than his previous one, but he had also managed to save his home and restore harmony to his family life. Was this a miracle? No, it was the natural working of law. For as the great poet William Blake said, what seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. Your reality is entirely subjective, and it conforms perfectly to your concept of yourself and the assumptions that you hold as true. Now, what does it mean to shift your energy? It is not enough to merely visualize what you want, though that is certainly part of it. To truly shift your energy means to so completely identify with the style, desire that you feel yourself to be living from it now. You see, most people try to manifest from a state of wanting, of needing, of not having, but that energy of lack only perpetuates more lack. Imagine a radio. There are countless stations broadcasting simultaneously, but you can only hear the one to which you are tuned. Your consciousness is like that radio. There are infinite states of consciousness, infinite versions of reality, all existing simultaneously. The one you experience is the one with which you are in vibrational harmony, the one that matches your energy, your state of consciousness. So how do you shift your energy to manifest your desired future? First, you must clearly define what you want. Be specific. The universe cannot deliver vague requests. If you want financial abundance, how much exactly? If you want a harmonious relationship, what qualities must it embody? If you want vibrant health, how does it feel to have it? Once you have clearly defined your desire, you must then do what seems to be the most challenging part, but which is in fact the simplest. You must assume the state of consciousness of already having it. You must feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let me ask you this. If you already had what you desire, how would you feel? What thoughts would you think? How would you carry yourself? What would your internal dialogue be like when you can answer these questions and begin to embody those feelings, thoughts, and behaviors? You are shifting your energy to match the frequency of your desire. Now let me tell you about the law of assumption, which is the foundation of all manifestation. Whatever you assume to be true, your subconscious mind must accept, and it will work day and night to bring into your experience evidence of that assumption. This is not positive thinking. This is the recognition of how reality operates at its fundamental level. If you assume that you are loved, your subconscious mind will orchestrate events to bring you evidence of being loved. If you assume that you are wealthy, your subconscious mind will guide you toward opportunities for wealth. If you assume that you are healthy, your body will respond accordingly. But you must persist in this assumption until it becomes your dominant feeling, your natural state of being. Remember the words of Scripture, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Your transformation begins with the renewing of your mind, with changing your concept of yourself and the assumptions that you live by. Many of you have heard of the law of attraction, but few understand its true mechanism. The law of attraction is not about attracting things to you, it is about attracting you to things. You are drawn to the reality that matches your state of consciousness. When you shift your energy, when you change your state of consciousness, you are literally shifting to a different version of reality where your desires already exist. And this is where many fall short in their manifestation practices. They try to manifest while still identifying with the state of not having what they desire. It is like trying to broadcast on one frequency while tuning into another. It creates static confusion and ultimately disappointment. So how do you maintain this new state of consciousness, this shifted energy? Through mental diet. Just as you are careful about what you put into your physical body, be even more vigilant about what you feed your mind. Every thought, every internal conversation, every assumption is either aligning you with your desire or moving you away from it. Begin to observe your thoughts, your internal conversations. Are they of lack of fear, of doubt? Then change them. Replace them with thoughts and conversations that align with your desire fulfilled. This is not denial of your current reality. It is the recognition that your current reality is simply the harvest of seeds planted in the past, and you are now planting new seeds for a new harvest. Now I want to address a common concern. Many of you may be thinking, but what about action? Don't I need to do something to manifest my desires? Yes, action is important, but it is inspired action that comes from your shifted state of consciousness, not action born of desperation or fear. When you have truly shifted your energy to align with your desire fulfilled, you will be naturally guided to take the right actions at the right time. It will not feel like effort or struggle. It will feel natural, inspired, almost as if you are being carried along by a current. Remember, the outer world can only reflect what is within. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, and lack, your outer world will reflect those states. But when your inner world is filled with certainty, love, and abundance, your outer world must and will reflect those states instead. I want to share another story with you. A woman once came to me who had been trying to manifest a loving relationship for years without success. She had tried everything, affirmations, vision boards, even dating apps, but nothing seemed to work. When we delved deeper, I discovered that while she consciously wanted a loving relationship, she harbored a deep pity that she was unlovable, that any man who truly knew her would eventually leave her. No amount of external action could override this subconscious assumption. So I guided her to work on changing this core belief. Rather than trying to find love, I suggested that she become the embodiment of love itself, to feel so filled with love that it overflowed from her, to assume the state of being deeply loved and valued, not by any specific person, but as her natural state of being. Within 2 months of this inner work of this energy shifting, she met a man who adored her exactly as she was. They are now married and have created a life together based on mutual respect, admiration, and deep love. She didn't find him. She became the version of herself who was already with him. This is the essence of manifestation through energy shifting. It is not about manipulating the external world. It is about transforming your internal world, knowing that the external must conform. Now, I want to address another aspect of manifestation that is often misunderstood, and that is the concept of time. In our three-dimensional world, we experience time as linear, as a progression from past to present to future. But in the fourth dimension, in the spiritual realm, all time exists simultaneously. There is only the eternal now. When you truly understand this, you realize that your future already exists. It is not something to be created. It is something to be selected through your state of consciousness. Think of it as a radio dial again. Your future of abundance, health, love, and joy already exists on a particular frequency. You don't need to create it. You only need to tune into it by shifting your energy to match its frequency. This is why patience is so important in manifestation. It is not about waiting for your desire to be created. It is about allowing the bridge of events to be built between your current physical reality and the reality where your desire already exists. This bridge is built automatically once you have shifted your energy, once you have assumed the state of consciousness of your wish fulfilled. But many of you become impatient. You shift your energy for a day or two, and then when you don't see immediate results, you revert to old state of consciousness. Your old energy, it is like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it has grown. You must plant the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind and then allow it to grow in its own time and in its own way. Remember the words of Scripture, "In due season we shall reap if we faint not." Your harvest will come, but it will come in its own season, not necessarily unattainable. Your job is not to determine when or how your desire will manifest. Your job is simply to maintain the state of consciousness, the energy of already having it. And this brings me to another crucial aspect of manifestation, and that is detachment. Many of you become so attached to your desire, so fixated on it, that you actually push it away. For attachment comes from a place of fear, a fear that you might not get what you want. And that fear is a low-frequency energy that repels rather than attracts. True detachment comes from absolute knowing. When you know that your desire is already yours in the spiritual realm, when you know that it must manifest in the physical realm, if you maintain the right state of consciousness, then you can relax. Then you can let go of the desperate need to see it now. It is like ordering a package online. Once you've placed the order, you don't sit by your mailbox fretting and worrying about whether it will come. You know it will come because you've placed the order. You go about your life, and when the package arrives, you receive it with gratitude. Manifesting your desires works the same way. Once you've placed your order with the universe by assuming the state of consciousness of your wish fulfilled, you must then release it, trust the process, and go about your life from this new state of being. Now, I want to talk about an aspect of energy shifting that is often overlooked, and that is the energy of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational states you can embody. When you are genuinely grateful, you are acknowledging that you already have what you desire, even if it has not yet manifested in the physical realm. Gratitude closes the gap between wanting and having. It is impossible to feel grateful and to feel lack at the same time. They are opposing energies. So if you want to shift your energy rapidly, begin to practice deep, genuine gratitude for your desire as if it is already yours. Each night before you sleep and each morning when you wake, give thanks for your desire fulfilled. Feel the feeling of gratitude wash over you. Allow it to permeate every cell of your being. This practice alone can completely transform your manifestation process. But there is an even deeper level of gratitude that I want to invite you to explore, and that is gratitude for what is, not just for what you desire. When you can find genuine gratitude for your current reality, even for the challenges and the lessons, you elevate your energy to such a degree that manifestation becomes effortless. For at the highest level of consciousness, you recognize that everything is perfect exactly as it is. Every experience, every challenge, every seeming setback is actually moving you toward your highest good. When you can embody this truth, when you can live from this understanding, you become a master manifester. I want to share with you a powerful technique for shifting your energy, and that is the use of I am statements. I am is one of the most powerful phrases in any language because it defines your state of being. Whatever follows I am shapes your reality. Be very careful with the statements that follow I am in your internal dialogue. If you find yourself thinking or saying I am sick, I am broke, I am unlucky in love, you are affirming and reinforcing those states of being. Instead, deliberately choose I am statements that align with your desires. I am healthy and vibrant. I am abundantly wealthy. I am deeply loved and in a harmonious relationship. Say these statements not as affirmations that you hope will become true, but as acknowledgments of what is already true in the spiritual realm, in the reality that you are now aligning with. Feel the truth of these statements as you say them. If resistance arises, if your mind argues with these statements, simply observe that resistance without judgment and gently return to the feeling of your statements being true. Over time, with persistence, these new I am statements will become your default state of being, your natural energy signature, and your outer world will reorganize itself to match this new inner state. Now I want to talk about a common obstacle to manifestation, and that is the energy of unworthiness. Many of you at a subconscious level do not believe that you deserve what you desire. This belief, this energy of unworthiness, acts as a barrier between you and your manifestations. Remember, the universe is abundant beyond measure. There is no limit to what you can have, be, or do, except the limits that you place upon yourself through your beliefs and assumptions. You are worthy of everything you desire simply because you exist, simply because you are an individualized expression of God, of the creative power of the universe. If you find yourself struggling with feelings of unworthiness, begin to work on healing this aspect of your consciousness. Recognize that these feelings are not the truth of who you are. They are simply beliefs that you have acquired throughout your life, beliefs that you can change. One powerful way to dissolve the energy of unworthiness is through self-love practices. Begin to treat yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and respect that you would offer to someone you deeply love. Speak to yourself with words of encouragement and affirmation. Care for your body, mind, and spirit as if they are sacred. As you cultivate self-love, as you shift from the energy of unworthiness to the energy of deservingness, you remove one of the most significant barriers to manifestation. And this brings me to another crucial aspect of energy shifting, and that is forgiveness. Unforgiveness, whether directed toward others or toward yourself, is a low-frequency energy that blocks the flow of your good. It keeps you chained to the past and prevents you from fully entering into the energy of your desired future. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful actions or staying in harmful situations. It means releasing the emotional charge, the energetic cord that binds you to people and events from your past. It means recognizing that by holding on to resentment, you are only hurting yourself. True forgiveness comes from understanding that everyone, including yourself, is doing the best they can with the consciousness they have in any given moment. As consciousness evolves, behavior improves. So forgive yourself for past mistakes, understanding that they were the result of your level of consciousness at that time, and forgive others for the same reason. This forgiveness practice will liberate tremendous amounts of energy that can then be redirected toward manifesting your desires. Now I want to discuss the role of belief in the manifestation process. Your beliefs are the foundation upon which your reality is built. A belief is simply a thought that you have thought so often that it has become automatic, unconscious. Many of your beliefs were formed in childhood, absorbed from your family culture and early experiences. Some of these beliefs serve you, but many do not. The good news is that beliefs can be changed. They are not fixed or permanent unless you consider them to be. To shift your energy for powerful manifestation, you must identify and transform the beliefs that are not in alignment with your desires. For instance, if you desire financial abundance but hold a belief that money is the root of all evil or rich people are greedy, you are creating internal conflict that will block your manifestation. Begin to examine your beliefs about the areas of life where you desire change. Write them down. Look at them objectively. Ask yourself, is this belief serving me? Is it helping me manifest my desires? Is it even true? If the answer is no, then decide to release that belief and replace it with one that is in alignment with your desires. Remember, a belief is nothing more than a thought that you have thought repeatedly. By deliberately choosing new thoughts and thinking them repeatedly with emotion and conviction, You can install new beliefs that support rather than sabotage your manifestations. And this brings me to another powerful technique for energy shifting, and that is the use of your imagination. Your imagination is not merely a faculty for daydreaming. It is the creative faculty through which you shape your reality. Every night before you sleep, enter into a state of deep relaxation and use your imagination to create a scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Make this scene as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all of your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel, smell, taste? Immerse yourself in this scene until it feels absolutely real to you, until you feel the joy, the gratitude, the satisfaction of your desire being fulfilled. Then carry this feeling with you into sleep. Your subconscious mind is most receptive as you fall asleep and as you awaken. By impressing your desire upon your subconscious in these receptive states, you are programming it to manifest in your physical reality. Do this consistently night after night, and you will be amazed at how your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match the inner world that you have created in your imagination. Now, I want to talk about an aspect of manifestation that is often misunderstood, and that is the role of action. Many teachings on manifestation either overemphasize action, making it seem as if manifestation is all about hustle and effort, or they underemphasize it, making it seem as if you can simply visualize your desires and they will magically appear without any movement on your part. The truth lies in the balance. Manifestation requires both inner and outer work. The inner work is shifting your energy, changing your state of consciousness to align with your desire fulfilled. The outer world is taking inspired action from this new state of consciousness. The key word here is inspired. When you have successfully shifted your energy, when you are living from the state of your desire fulfilled, you will be naturally guided to take certain actions. These actions will not feel like struggle or effort. They will feel natural, exciting, almost as if you are being pulled toward them. This is the universe working through you to bring your desire into physical form. Your job is to remain in the energy of your desire fulfilled and to follow the intuitive nudges, the inspired ideas that come to you from this state. Sometimes the inspired action may be to do nothing, to be patient, to trust. Other times it may be to take a bold step you would never have considered from your old state of consciousness. Trust the guidance that comes from your shifted energy and act on it promptly. I want to address another common obstacle to manifestation, and that is the energy of doubt. Doubt is natural. It arises whenever we attempt to create something that we have not created before, whenever we attempt to become something that we have not been before. But doubt need not derail your manifestations. When doubt arises simply without judgment, do not fight it or try to suppress it, as this only gives it more power. Instead, acknowledge it and then gently return to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Remember, doubt is simply a thought, and a thought can be changed. Replace the thought of doubt with a thought of certainty, with the knowing that what you desire is already yours in the spiritual realm and must manifest in the physical realm if you maintain the right state of consciousness. One powerful way to overcome doubt is through evidence collecting. Begin to notice the small signs, the synchronicities, the coincidences that suggest your desire is on its way to you. These signs are everywhere once you begin to look for them. Acknowledging and appreciating these signs builds your faith and dissolves doubt. And this brings me to another crucial aspect of energy shifting, and that is the importance of consistency. Manifestation is not a one-time event, it is a way of life. You must consistently maintain the energy, the state of consciousness of your desire fulfilled in order for it in your physical reality. This does not mean that you will never have moments of doubt or fear or reverting to old patterns of thought. You are human and fluctuations in energy are natural, but it does mean that you must consistently return to the energy of your desire fulfilled, especially after you have temporarily slipped from it. I think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. At first, it requires conscious effort and practice. You make mistakes, you get frustrated, but you keep returning to the practice. Eventually, it becomes second nature. You can play without conscious thought. It becomes a part of who you are. Manifestation works the same way. At first, maintaining the energy of your desire fulfilled requires conscious effort and practice. But as you persist, it becomes your natural state of being, your default energy signature. And this brings me to one of the most powerful secrets of manifestation, which is the understanding that you are not just manifesting things or experiences. You are manifesting a state of being. The things and experiences are simply the outer symbols, the physical reflections of this state of being. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, what you are really seeking is the state of being that you believe financial abundance will give you, perhaps its security, freedom, peace of mind, the ability to contribute to causes you care about. When you identify the state of being that underlies your desire and begin to cultivate that state now, regardless of your current circumstances, you accelerate your manifestation tremendously. But you are no longer trying to get something to feel a certain way. You are feeling that way now and allowing the outer symbols to naturally follow. This is why it is so important to clarify your desires, to understand what you truly want beneath the surface level desire. What state of being are you seeking? Once you've identified it, begin to embody it now. Feel it as your reality now. Live from it now and watch as your outer world transforms to match this inner state. Now I want to talk about an aspect of energy shifting that is often overlooked, and that is the energy of surrender. Many of you approach manifestation with a tight grip, with an energy of control and force. You try to micromanage the universe, dictating exactly how and when your desire should manifest. But true manifestation requires a balance of intention and surrender. You set your intention clearly. You shift your energy to align with your desire fulfilled. And then you surrender the outcome to the universe, to the wisdom of yourself, trusting that what manifests will be for your highest good, even if it doesn't look exactly as you had imagined. This surrender is not giving up. It is not resignation. It is a profound trust in the perfect unfolding of your life, in the benevolence of the universe. It is the recognition that your higher self, your divine self, may have an even grander vision for your life than your human self can conceive. When you can hold both clear intention and complete surrender simultaneously, you enter into a state of flow, a state of grace, where manifestation becomes effortless and joyful. And now I want to leave you with a final thought, a final truth about the nature of reality and the process of manifestation. Everything that you perceive in your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Everything. There are no exceptions to this rule. This means that if you want to change anything in your outer world, your finances, your relationships, your health, your career, you must first change the corresponding aspect of your inner world. You must shift your energy, your state of consciousness, in relation to that area of life. This is both a tremendous responsibility and a tremendous freedom. It means that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances, of other people's actions, of the economy, of luck or fate. You are the creator of your reality, all of it through the states of consciousness that you embody. So choose wisely the states of consciousness, the energies that you embody. Choose states of love rather than fear, of abundance rather than lack, of health rather than illness, of harmony rather than conflict. Choose to live from the end, from the fulfilled desire, rather than from the wanting of it. Do this consistently with faith and patience, and your life will transform in ways that may seem miraculous to others, but that you will understand as the natural working of law, the perfect reflection of your shifted energy, your changed consciousness. Remember, I am is the self-definition of the infinite. Whatever follows I am in your consciousness defines your world. Choose your I am statements with care and with full awareness of their creative power. You are not merely a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are an individualized expression of the divine with all the creative power that implies. Use this power consciously, use it wisely, use it lovingly, and your life will become a living testament to the truth that as within so without. Shift your energy and you shift your world. It is the law, it is the promise, and it is the way.